Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. And my name is Useon Cho. And I'm really glad that you are my first student. And thank you for coming to my lecture. And I'm from South Korea, and my hometown is Gwangju, which is far from Seoul. What is well known in my hometown is May 18 pro-democracy movement. So every May 18, most of the schools in my hometown have a ceremony with several of events to honor the ones that passed away in the offspring against dictatorship and authoritarianism. So this anniversary is very important, and the meaning of pro-democracy movement is also very important. But nowadays, young people don't know the importance and significance of this pro-democracy movement. So through my lecture, I'll teach you about the modern Korea democracy, and Korea pro-democratic movements and the importance and significance. So before look at the Korean democracy and democracy movements, what is democracy, do you think? What is democracy, do you think? Melissa?
Yes. Way to put me on the spot. I think democracy is about respecting other people's opinions and their rights as well.
Oh, that's good. And how about Brian?
Freedom of speech.
Oh, yes, sure. We can say democracy in one sentence. Democracy is right, power, and freedom for citizens. So in a democratic country, we can express our opinion easily, freely, and we can vote for whoever we want as our leader. So what do you think? Is it possible to establish and maintain democracy overnight or in a day? Do you think?
No.
Yes, it's not easy at all. So people have been struggling against dictatorship and authoritarianism by sacrifice of their money or safety and even their life. That is a pro-democracy movement. Pro-democratic movement is a fight back. It's a to fight back against dictatorship and authoritarianism. So now we got an idea of democracy and pro-democratic movement. So now let's look at the Korean situation. South Korea, of course not North Korea. Korea is a democracy country, and Korea has a long 5,000-year history, but the Republic of Korea was established in May 10th, 1948. But Article 1, Section 1, Clause 1 of the Korea Constitution states that Korea is a democratic republic. But there was a big problem. Do you know what it is? Yes. People, as I mentioned, Korea has a long 5,000-year history, and for 5,000 years, Korea had been in a dynasty system. So the king was the one who was perceived as a god. So people couldn't express their opinion easily and criticize their king freely. And people didn't dare to think that they could choose their king by themselves. So even though Korea is a democratic republic, people didn't know what democracy is and what they could do in democratic country. So while people were confused by these the change of political system, the Lee Seung-man was elected as the first Korean president. Korean first president, and then and while Lee Seung-man was the first president, in June 25th, 1950, the Korean War broke out. At that time, President Lee took advantage of this war by warning people against North Korea to keep up his power. And on July 27th, 1953, North Korea and South Korea reached a truce agreement. And President Lee did a lot of things to keep up his power, but he realized that he couldn't have a power anymore, because in the Korea Constitution, a person can't be a president more than 2 times, and he was already elected 2 times. So he knew that he must change the Korean Constitution. So November 27th, 1954, there was a constitutional amendment, but to change the Korean Constitution, more than 2 out of 3 number of National Assembly's agreements are required. So at the time, the total number of politicians were 203. So he had to get more than 136 agreements, but the result was 135. So actually, this constitutional amendment was rejected. But as President Lee's claims, they had to apply rounding off. Do you know what is rounding off? You don't know? rounding off is like a bad
Yeah.
bad word. That's the word. And so if the number is bigger than 5, we can make it like this part. If the number is bigger than 5, we can make it 1 plus 1. But if the number is less than smaller than 5, we can throw it away. So this part is less smaller than 5. So they have to get rid of it. So it has to be passed. So after that, finally the constitutional amendment was passed. Yes, and so after this constitutional amendment, he President Lee ran for president again, and the person Lee Gi-bung, who was in the same party with Lee Seung-man, ran for vice president. But President Lee was the leading candidate, but Lee Gi-bung wasn't. So President Lee tried to get him elected by voter fraud. So as the result of election, result of the election, President Lee and Lee Gi-bung were elected as president and vice president. After that, after the nation found out the wrongdoing, and people started to resist against the result of the election and their party. So people started to resist from March 15th, 1960, and the resistance peaked in Seoul in April 9th, 1960. So we call it as April 9th Revolution. So so government knew that people's resistance were getting bigger, and they're getting bigger. So finally, April 26th, President Lee announced his resignation. So this is the April 19th revolution. Yes. Is there any question or something?
Interesting.
No.
I do.
Okay.
So Lee Seung-man,
Yes.
so he was actually elected in 1948.
Yes. Yes.
The other people that he ran against, did they really stand a chance of being elected, or?
He did voter fraud.
Oh, he did voter fraud
Yes,
in
or-
1948.
Yes, and also actually the election had to people had to elect in a hidely. Other people can't see.
Secret ballot.
Secretly.
Yes, but Lee Seung-man
That's for the assistant, right? You said
Yes.
the assistant. What was the nature of this voter fraud? How
What?
did it happen? Yeah, in the case of the assistant,
Yes.
because you mentioned that you wanted to get the assistant, the running mate, the vice president or something.
Oh,
In
sorry.
relation to the vice president,
Yes, yes.
you said Lee's son, man,
네, it's,
sort of orchestrated or brought about some kind of voter fraud
yes.
to be able to elect the vice. How did it happen?
How did it happen?
Like, explain
Ah,
further.
so, before starting the election, he already put a lot of voter in the box,
In the
like a
box.
voter box
Okay.
already.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so like this, they did.
I know what kind
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, I just want to be sure, like a voters fraud happened in 1948, or it's after like 1954. You say 1948, so it happened again in 1954.
Yeah.
The two times they do the voters.
Ah, yes, yes.
Huh?
No. The second, the March 15, 1960s, there was voter fraud, but before this election, there was no voter
No
fraud.
fraud,
Yes,
okay.
only that time.
I have a question.
Yes.
During the Korean War,
Yes.
you mentioned that the Lee Seung-man take advantage of the Korean War to be elected the president
Yes.
after the war.
Yes.
But as far as I know, a lot of people during the war, they think that the Lee Seung-man not doing well, not did well during the Korean War. They broadcast the wrong voice to the public and say like that we are safety, we are doing well, our soldiers doing well against North Korea. So I don't know how can he take advantage of Korean War?
It's a kind of psychological thing. Psychologically, when people are in dangerous situation or war or something like that, people tend to depend on someone. So what I mean that he by warning people that North Korea against North Korea, he tried to people gather his power his power. Yes, I
Yeah.
mean that.
Yeah, I think you're talking about, when because people don't have anybody to depend on. They
Yes.
need to depend on a leader.
Yes.
So he uses that psychology, right?
Yes.
Psychology, I remember what I said. To be able to get people to rally
Yes.
behind him and extend his term of office to a third term, right? And that is where the fraud is. One of the things that I didn't get clear, you said democracy, but you didn't define republic and democratic republic. Just a subtlety, they're close but not quite. So in explaining, you want to make sure you clarify that you understand that concept clearly, the Republican part in connection to democracy, republic.
I think,
Okay.
for example,
Okay, go ahead.
North Korea is the People's Democratic Republic of North Korea, I think,
Yeah.
which is different from Republic of Korea.
Yeah.
I heard someone say once that if you see the word democratic in the title of the country, it means they're not democratic.
There's no-
The Democratic Congo, the least democratic. It says that democratic in the title. So, I don't know. So, it doesn't say democratic in the title, so maybe it's a democracy. Republic. That's my answer anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
Move on. So this picture is Lee Seung-man. Yes, he's and So after his resignation, there were new president and new prime minister, but they didn't have enough power to control nation. So people were still in like chaos. At the time, and this is the picture of April 19th revolution. So at the time, so after his resignation, Park Chung-hee and some soldier staged a coup in May 16, 1961. So after coup, he came into power, and he made a new temporary agency to prevent counter coup and to suppress all potential enemy. And also he made a spring council. So it processed all the works instead of government. So Park Chung-hee became the acting president as well as a chairman of Spring Council. After 2 years, he was elected as the 9th Korean president. So the main of his policies was reform of Korean economy, because that at the time Korean economy was very low because of a Korean War or like this. So he tried to develop Korean industry. So under President Park's leadership, Korean industry saw remarkable development. And after that, he was elected again as 10th president, and he had promised that he would leave office in 1971, but with contrast with his mention, he tried to keep his power again. So as like Lee did, he tried to make a new constitution named Useon Constitution. So the original Korean constitution states that a person can't be a president more than 2 times, but in the new constitution, Useon Constitution states that people can be there is no limit on president terms, and the Korean president is elected by electoral group, not citizen. So it definitely violated nation's right to vote. Also, the president term increased 6 years. First is 4 years, but 7 is to 6. So by this changed constitution, he had to have power for 18 years. Yes, that's very good. 18 years. However, in October 26, 1979, President Park was shot by Kim Jae-gyu, who was the director of a new temporary agency, and he was assassinated. Yes, that is the the democracy during while Park Chung-hee was president. Yes. So far, is there any question? Yes.
Who is Kim Jae-hoo?
Kim Jae-gyu is, as I said, after coup, he made a new temporary agency, and he was the director of this new temporary agency.
Okay, well, what is the temporary agency?
The new temporary agency is the name is ACIA, and this is made to prevent counter coup and to suppress the all potential enemy, because it was a coup, so there is some enemies to resist this coup. So because of this, he made it.
But he assassinated Park.
Yes.
He.
Oh yes, because he thought that Park Chung-hee is the enemy of Korean democracy.
Oh.
So he did this assassination.
He didn't personally kill him.
Yes.
Personally?
Personally?
Kim Jae-hoo actually killed
Yes.
Park
The
himself.
shot.
Oh.
There's a lot of conspiracy going on at the time because, President Park, he gained control, and now the Korean economy, was very, very doing really well, right? It's never been before ever, right? So now the U.S. government and a lot of a lot of countries in the world actually they start watching how South Korea is doing. And now President Park, it's just rumor, right? President Park was in the process of developing a nuclear plant in Korea. Right, so one conspiracy is that U.S. government was worried if South Korea would have a nuclear plant, and now kind of told Kim Jae-gyu to assassinate President Park, because of that, right? That's one conspiracy theory going on, but it's only conspiracy. And just to give more ideas to everyone here is that now Park Chung-hee created KCIA. It's pretty much like American CIA, right? So KCIA in 70s, and then now this department, this agency, was so powerful that it's not like any other government agencies, and it was so powerful. And if you are director of KCIA, you're probably like right on to the president, right? So right now, thus far we don't know why Jae-gyu Kim killed the president. No one knows actually. Yeah, so there's a lot of
Well, that's why I
conspiracy
asked,
behind it.
because it's
Right.
kind of a big thing.
Right. right. Uh-huh.
They killed
Yeah.
the president.
Right. And then, like Useon said, yeah, I think it's there to prevent coup and any other what protests and demonstration. But at the same time, the main duty of KCI is to watch North Korea too, right? Just to give you some more background information.
Thank you.
So what happens after he assassinated Park? I mean, the Kim Jae-il was killed, or he was.
He
The
was-
Constitution said he's guilty.
Oh, he
I ju-
suicide.
suicides.
I'll check and then I'll answer in
I just
section part. Is okay. And is there any question? Okay. Oh, it's not working properly. Yes. This picture is Park Jong, President Park. And so after the assassination of Park Jong-il, President Park, in December 12, 1979, Chun Doo-hwan and some politicized soldier gained control of military, and furthermore came into power by overthrowing the existing government. So soon after President Park's military rule was ended. Another military regime dominated the power, and it made people outraged. So in so May 15th, 1980, there was a big resistance in front of Seoul Station. So as the reaction of this resistance, Chun Doo-hwan expanded the military law to the entire country, and the expanded military law closed universities. So May 18th is to 27th, we called May 18th Gwangju pro-democracy movement. So on May 18th, around 200 of students gathered in front of Cheonnam National University, which is my university. and in front of gate, students and army crashed, and then And then the students moved to downtown area, and the conflict broadened to around 2,000 people. At the time during this defiance, a 29 years old deaf man named Kim Young-chul was died by army's beating. So he was died. So this violence made people outraged. So the protester increased more than 10,000 people. And May 21st, the violence climaxed in front of Jeonnam provincial office. The army fired at the protesting crowd gathered in front of Jeonnam provincial office. So many people were died by this firing. So other protesters raided some police office and armed themselves. This is from May 18th to 21st. And then May 22nd, the army retreated for reinforcements. And during this period, the army blocked all routes and communication leading into and out of the city. Communication. Yes. So the people in Gwangju were isolated. And also the Gwangju people in Gwangju made a civil military. So they prepared the fighting against the government army. Yes. So on May 26th, the army was ready to re-intern in Gwangju, and on May 27th, 4 a.m. The army re-interned in Gwangju, and they suppressed all civil military in Gwangju. Yes, this is May 18th Gwangju democracy movement. Yes. Is there any question? That's okay. Okay. So every as I mentioned, every May 18th in Gwangju we have a lots of ceremony to honor the ones that passed away. So I want to show the video about May 18th for democracy movements. So, this is that the protesting crowd gathered in front of Cheonnam provincial office, and now is the video is about the army was firing at the crowd. The government announced that the number of deaths is 603 people, and the number of injured is 600, around 600. But the real number of injured and deaths is more than 5,000 people. The army beating Gwangju people. Yes. So, even though the Gwangju pro-democracy movement was put down, but people didn't stop resist against President John's dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
And what people most wanted to change is the indirect election system.
Mm-hmm.
Since President Park made a Useon constitution, Korean president had been elected by one or some group, not by citizen. So people had demanded that government must change this in the indirect election system.
Mm-hmm.
But government ignored people's wish, and in April 13th, 1987, President Park announced that government will stick to this existing indirect election system. So people started to striving the President John's authoritarianism and authoritarianism. So even though the President John tried to people down put down by force, people didn't stop. So and the protesting is getting protesting was getting bigger since June 1987. So we call it June pro-democracy movement. So people and government was fighting back, but finally, government announced June 29th declaration, which is that government will change the indirect election system to direct election system, and the president terms for 6 years to 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is a June pro-democracy movements. The significance of these June pro-democracy movements is that before these movements, the main people who was doing pro-democratic movements were usually students or some intelligent people or some laborers. But in these movements, white collar workers joined these movements. So this movement is everyone all of nation joined in this. All of nation joined this movement. Yes. So this is Jeondu President John's picture. And this is Gwangju pro-democracy movement's picture. More than 10,000 people gathered in front of people gathered in pro-democracy movement, and the people moved to downtown area. And this is the pictures about that the army were beating people. And this is the picture that the army fired at the protesting crowd. Yes. So I have some open question. I have no answer, and I think you guys have an answer. So first is Korean political situation different from the political situation in your country? How? I think I will give a time for 1 minute. But
Just maybe 3 minutes.
In 1 minute, and
How?
say your-
I think this is more like a statement, and I'm from Korea.
Yes.
So I just want to
From Korea,
have
from Korea.
All right. So I just comment. Well, in every country who who kind of imports, the system from the Western countries, from the States or from England. We learned democracy, from the U.S., right? From the Western society. And I think in every country who learned it from somebody else, not invented themselves, actually kind of went through the same experience where, okay, there's always been a dictatorship, or army government, and then through the process we learn democracy and how. And then the people in that society, in the government, actually gain power, right? And then now, I think that's the natural process. I'm not entirely sure what other actually countries that didn't go through this experience but achieved the peaceful democracy. Maybe some countries, I cannot guarantee, but in every country actually, quite I think experience the same thing.
Yes.
Joe, you are in the pro-democracy movement.
No. I was kind of scared.
Side.
Right. The opposite side.
First generation, I think, at
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
True is that.
But I learned so much stuff from my parents who experienced this, in 80s, right?
Actually, but my mother was in that situation, May 18th pro-democracy movement, and she said it was a terrible situation.
Yeah.
Yes, so I also learned a lot of things from my mother. Yes, and we don't have enough time to come up with open questions, so I want to.
Can I have a quick question?
Oh yes, sure.
Can you summarize a few, 2 or 3 benefits you think emerged or came out of the pro-democracy movement since independence?
Some benefits.
Yeah, main benefits that maybe they're enjoying today, or that you can summarize from the different, because a couple of pro-democracy movements at different stages, happen. So what do you think, in your experience or from your reflection, are some of the main significance or benefits?
We did April 19th revolution, and May 18th Gwangju pro-democracy movement, and June pro-democracy movement. So
What good things came out of those?
From April 19th revolution, through this revolution, I think that most of people can get an idea of democracy and the importance of democracy, I think. So that's the benefit from April 19th revolution. And May 18th Gwangju pro-democracy movement. Through this movement, I think it gives a reason to people that to realize and establish democracy. All people have to participate it, because at that time, just Gwangju and these provincial people participated in that pro-democracy movement. So I think that it was kind of fail, I think. So through through this pro-democracy movement, I think that all people have to participate in that pro-democracy movement to establish our democracy.
Mhm.
Yes. And June pro-democracy movement, through June pro-democracy movement, as I mentioned in my lecture, like white collar or the main of people who were doing pro-democracy movements were students and labor or intelligent people, but in these movements, like a white collar workers also joined. So it was an example that all people participated. I think.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Okay. Well, yeah. Please join Usan's second part.